After I saw everyone off, I sighed. As my breath blew white, I looked up to the sky. The moon was a full circle, watching silently. They would all be going to battle. If I went, I would only be in the way. Or perhaps that was simply an excuse to allow myself to feel better for staying behind, because I didn't know what to say to Heisuke. Harada and Nagakura are his best friends. If anyone can bring him back, they can. My mind occupied with worried thoughts of Heisuke and the others, I wandered around the compound and before long found myself outside. I was about to go back in when I heard footsteps running towards me. Yamazaki?
こんなところで何をしている？一人で出歩かないよう言われているはずだが。
Sorry.
いや、今はそんなことはどうでもいい。大変な知らせが入った。時間が惜しい。広間に人を集めるから手伝ってくれ。
Serious? The main hall was noisy, even though most of the Shinsengumi was elsewhere.
掃除は休んでいるようだったから呼ばなかったよ。構わないかい？
はい、問題ありません。それより、ことは急を要します。島田君たちがまだですが、先に話しましょう。
Has something happened? I've never seen Yamazaki so impatient. Whatever it was he had to say, it had to be big. It was making me nervous. I waited for Yamazaki to continue.
もしや、伊藤さんの暗殺に失敗したのかい？
いえ、それ自体は成功です。我々は伊藤の死体をおとりに五両エジを油麹へとおびき寄せ包囲しました。
A few words to mark the death of a man. But Yamazaki pressed forward, and I had no time left to feel sad.
ですがその際、長倉さんたちと五両エジ双方を包囲する形で横槍が入りました。おそらく薩摩の連中です。
Oh no! Are Nagakura and Harada and Heisuke alright?
敵の数はこちらを大きく上回っていたが、おそらくあの方々ならばしばらくは持ちこたえてくれるはずだ。
早急に援軍を送らなければならないね。動ける者は私と島田君と。
Just as Inoue stood up, there was an explosion of noise from outside. What was that noise? Shocked glances were exchanged, just as Shimada came through the door, distress plain on his face.
大変です。鬼が襲撃してきました。
What? Why now?
こんな時だからかもしれないね。状況を説明してくれ、島田君。襲ってきたのは例の3人組かい？
いえ、刀を持った細表の男一人です。確かあれは
刀、風間千景か。
We ran through the door, then came to a sudden halt, frozen by the scene before us. Everywhere there were bodies, and the air was thick with the stench of blood. The scent was so strong that one need not be a fury to be driven mad by it.
このムクロは皆羅刹体。これを風間が一人でやったと。
羅刹体ということは、撃って出たのは三男さんか。彼は今どこに？
あちらです。
まがいものの力など所詮はこの程度。哀れなものだな。生まれ変わって出直してくるがいい。
One of the Furies who left the Kazuma alongside Sanan fell to the ground with a groan.
離れ。
貴様は他の雑魚よりは多少はマシだが、所詮はまがいものの剣に過ぎぬ。
Of all the Fury Corps, Sanan-san was the only one who could even begin to stand before Kazuma's onslaught. But even he was no match for the demon. Kazuma kicked out almost casually at a charging Fury, throwing him across the yard and continued his slow walk forward.
雪村君、君は下がっていろ。あいつは我々が抑える。
But
敵は風間だけではない。いつ仲間が駆けつけてこないとも限らないからね。それに羅刹が分別をなくして襲いかかってくる降参も高い。
the two eventually nodded to one another and ran off sword in hand.
雪村君、中に隠れていてください。風間は我々が追い払います。
Oi! Shimada ran off to back up Sanan and Inoue. I didn't know why Kazuma had chosen this time to attack. But even if I faced him, I would be completely useless. What then was I to do? Check on Okita. Of course. Okita was still resting. Inoue had said so. What if the Furies attacked him now? That thought shook me to my core. And I took off for his room. Okita! By the time I reached his room, Okita was already preparing for battle. His swords were strapped to his waist, and as I stepped in, he slipped me a grin.
遅かったね。誰も呼びに来てくれないから、自分から行こうと思ってたところなんだ。
Are you feeling better?
当たり前じゃない。近藤さんの敵を取れないのは悔しいけど、他に活躍の場があるってことだし。
I was such a fool. For just a moment, I'd forgotten just how serious Okita's illness was. Please, don't do this. The rest of the Shinsengumi has the situation under control. Please, go back to bed. He glared at me with his sharp gaze.
君さ、本気で言ってるの？源さんや山崎くんが池田屋で僕をあんな目に遭わせた鬼を追い返せるとでも思ってる？
Well,
もし源さんがあの鬼に殺されたら、近藤さんがどれだけ悲しむと思ってるのさ。
but still,
平気だよ、これぐらいなら。別に腕が衰えたわけじゃないんだから。
せっかく心配してくださってるのに、無下にするような真似はよくありませんよ。
I spun around, and my eyes went wide. Kaoru? This was, no doubt, the person I'd met that day in the city, but her once tied-up hair was now cut and hung just above her shoulders. The beautiful kimono she wore when we'd first met was long gone, replaced with a black jacket and pants that signaled her being ready for battle. In fact, she looked like...
これが私本来の姿。訳あって生を偽っていたことはお詫びします。
へえ、君男だったんだ。なるほどね。
Either Okita didn't much care, or he'd already known. In any event, he seemed unsurprised. I didn't have the same luxury. Wait, what do you mean? He gave me an oddly unsettling smile.
性別を偽ったのも今日この場に現れたのも全ては唯一の目的のため。そう、私は妹を救うためにやってきた。
Sister?
お前のことだよ。
What? True, we looked alike, but sister? No way!
わからないのも無理はない。我々の一族が倒幕の誘いを断って滅ぼされた折、お前は行動さんに連れ出され、私は土佐の南雲家に引き取られて離れ離れになってしまったから。
Our family? Did he say Kodo? Not father?
行動さんはお前がもう少し大きくなってから伝えるつもりだったんだと思うけど、お前は行動さんとは血がつながっていないんだ。私たちの両親は故郷雪村の里を滅ぼされた時に亡くなってしまったからね。
Each word out of Kaoru's mouth hit me like a fist. Our real parents were long dead, and the man I thought to be my father was not even related to me. What other truths were really lies? Kaoru gestured at his face, so uncannily similar to my own.
この顔だけでは信じられないか。ではこの刀を証としよ
う。Oh my goodness.
私の大通伝はお前の小通伝の対となる刀。これもかつて分かたれたものの一つだ。
No, my father never said.
行動さんはいずれお前に伝えるつもりだったんだと思うよ。人間どもに虐げられた辛い思い出とともにね。
As much as my mind was telling me none of this was true, I realized what he just revealed to me matched up with what Sen had told me before.
じゃあ君も鬼なんだね。
If we were born to the same house, like Kaoru claimed, then he would be a demon.
はい。冷静ですね、沖田さんは。
まあ僕にとっては人事だからね。鬼である君に一つ聞いていいかな。君の目的は風間と同じでこの子を利用すること。
What? I looked back and forth from Okita to Kaoru, not sure what to do. Kaoru simply smiled as the room's tension snapped taut.
そんなつもりはありません。ですが私からも質問させてください。先ほどの問いに肯定したらあなたはどうします？病に侵されたその体を引きずってでも私を止めますか？
The room went silent. When Okita spoke,
勝手に連れて行けば君らの事情なんて知ったことじゃないし。
his words were what I expected and feared.
そうですか。
I known just how little Okita thought of me, but to hear him say it, there was a part of me, a small part, that I'd hoped for a different answer.
そこどいてくれる？
いえ、どきません。今のあなたは 戦えませんから。
何を言ってるのさ。僕はまだ戦えるよ。
どうしても戦いたいというのですか。ならばこれを。
The bottle Kaoru held out shone in the moonlight. The thick red liquid inside it looking at the sides. I recognized that liquid all too well. Very painful memories were suddenly resurrected. Where did you get that Kaoru?
コードーさんからいただきました。
My father gave you that?
この薬は。
私は確かに鬼です。身を置いている反動師の事情で風間たちに協力するように言われています。
Kaoru's gaze drifted down towards the floor.
ですが大切な妹をただ子を産むための道具としてしか見ないような奴らに渡す気にはなれません。
だから落ち水を僕に与えて妹を守らせようってわけ。なかなか自分勝手な理屈だね。
無責任な言い方でごめんなさい。でも選ぶのはあなたです。今のように起き上がれないまま戦いたいとただ叫ぶだけか、これで羅刹となるか。新選組の一番組組長ともあろう方が布団の上で血を吐きながら死ぬことをお望みですか。
No, Okita, you can't! Okita had seen the suffering of the Furies countless times. They were almost pitiable creatures who couldn't bear the sun's light, going mad at the scent of blood. If you became one of them, If you become a Fury, Okita, wouldn't that break Kondo-san's heart?
近藤さん。
You have a lot of respect for Kondo-san, right, Okita? Please don't do anything that would hurt Kondo-san. So, Okita, please! Okita bit his lip. However, Kaoru didn't stop.
あなたが胸を患ってから新選組の局長さんは何度思ったことでしょうね。もしこの場に宗司がいてくれればって。
Oh, you bitch. You bitch. Absolute bitch.
今日だってそんな状態でなければ間違いなくあなたに命が下ったはずですのに。
Please, Kaoru, don't do this. If you're really my brother and you really care for me, then why are you doing this to Okita? Just as I screamed that, before he could answer, 4 human shapes leapt through the door.
羅刹体か。
He reached for his sword the moment he saw their red eyes, but his body no longer obeyed him as it once had. His hands fumbled on the hilt and the sword clattered to the floor.
これが今の僕か。新選組一番組組長沖田総司か。
What was Okita thinking? Was he sad at how powerless he felt? Angry? In the darkness, I could only barely see his face, and his emotions were hidden from me. Then suddenly, He moved, snatching the bottle from Kaoru's hand. Okita, no! If you drink that! He glared at the Furies, perhaps taking in the monster he was about to become. Then he looked over at me, and on his face was the faint sideways smile I had seen so many times before.
まったく、君はこんな時まで。
He threw back his head and I watched the red liquid drain from the bottle. Kaoru smiled. More Furies, hungry for blood, ran into the room. I froze, terrified. Blood felt like rain, blood drawn by a white-haired monster who had left his humanity behind. This was Okita the Fury, Okita the Beast. In exchange for the strength to lift his sword once again, he had traded away his soul. His snow-white hair fluttered like a blizzard as he swung his swords at the Furies. The carnage lasted only seconds, though it seemed longer. All that remained of the Furies were bleeding corpses. Fresh blood dripped from his pure white hair, the proof of the curse.
これで満足かい、南雲薫。
はい、ご立派でした、沖田総司さん。本当にあなたには感謝の言葉もありません。
He clapped once, and then a cruel smile split his face.
まんまと俺の思惑に乗ってくれてねえ。
何？
Even with the water of life, the battle had weakened him. I caught Okita just before he hit the floor. Okita! Are you okay? Why did... His hair was back to its normal color. It hid only temporarily his true nature, but having even a piece of the old Okita back was a relief. Was I a fool for feeling that way?
お前はさっき聞いていたね。なぜ兄である私がお前が大事に思う沖田に落ち水を与えるのかって。
I didn't understand. What was he saying? Kaoru smiled again.
全然分かってないね、お前。兄さんはお前の親しい人間にだからこそ落ち水を渡したんだよ。
What? I glared furiously at this boy who claimed to be my brother. What's so funny? He only smiled wider.
おかしいんじゃない。嬉しいんだよ。俺と違って周りにいる全員から愛されて育った妹にそこまで苦しんでもらえて嬉しいんだよ。
His voice had changed. There was a manic edge to it now, and the more he talked, the more his grotesque grin twisted his face. In his eyes, I saw more madness than in those of a fury.
俺が引き取られた南雲家は子を産ませる女鬼が欲しかったらしくてね。 双子の兄弟で外れを引いて大激怒さ。その結果、俺がどれだけ虐げられても仕方ないよね。子を産めやしない男なんて所詮価値がないんだ。
How many times was he told how worthless he was? When he spoke, the word had the sound of one he'd heard so many times that it was simply part of him.
まあ、そんなこと言ってくれた奴らはとっくに全員地獄に落としたけど。
I wasn't such a fool that I couldn't guess what that meant. To speak of murder so easily.
俺と妹は同じ顔をしていて同じ血を継いでいるのに、たかが性別の違いで俺ばかり冷遇されることになったのは誰のせいだと思う？
I looked at that hideous smile twisting the flesh of his face, my face, and shivered. There's a chance that I could look like that. And I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't help but touch my face to make sure.
自分と同じ顔をした人間が笑うのがムカつくか。俺だってそうさ。お前が幸せな顔してるのがムカついてしょうがなかった。
With that last word, he lunged for my neck, hands outstretched. Fingers like iron closed around my throat.
その幸せな顔が崩れた時、沖田が出来損ないの鬼になった瞬間の表情を俺の顔で再現してあげたいくらいだけど、さすがの俺にも難しいかな、あれ。わざわざ親しい人間を狙ってやった甲斐があって、想像してたよりずっと可愛い顔だったから。
You... Did he trick Okita just to see me suffer? You...
苦しい。俺が怖い。でもこんなものは序の口だよ。
He let go of my neck. I fell to the floor, my chest burning. Raw, hacking coughs tore their way out of my throat. As Kaoru faded into the shadows, I saw a last gentle smile, and then his laughter filled the night.
兄さんは君の不幸せをいつでも願ってるよ。なんてね。
Tears began to pour from my eyes. There was a man, my brother, who hated me so passionately that he would destroy another man for no other reason than to hurt me. Okita! My hands tightened around him. Okita didn't care about me one way or the other, but because I cared for him, he'd been thrown into hell. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.